what happens if this is for the kids? Okay, and this is for the kids that I taught last year or I had some kind of contact with, and for some reason or other they are wanting to still pay attention to me and look at my videos. Why? However, it's because I'm doing something interesting. And I noticed that they were interesting as human beings, which means that at my age they're going to be interesting. And they will have done interesting things and they'll be doing interesting things. So I know as a kid you can't really get a huge amount of choice about what you're doing. You kind of have some. You know, whether it's on a BMX bike or with a bunch of dominoes or doing kind of like reviews of things. Or kind of doing physically challenging things. That's a team right there. Or being really nice, actually. Because I want to be actually really nice. They want to pay attention for some reason. They're giving me attention. So I'd like to give you some idea of what I'm doing. Apart from having, you know. Right, it's Sunday night. It's 4:24 in the morning. Now, if I was doing a job, I went to Tango tonight, and I finished at 11. And everybody else obviously rushed. They have to rush home because they have to go to bed because they're getting up at like 5 o'clock in the morning because they have to commute to work. Because I'm living in London now and it's a bit of a mad rush route. And so people end up working for most of their lives. Now, of course, you know, I could have gone to Tango on Saturday or Friday and that would have gone dancing till 2 in the morning, 3 in the morning. But there's something that's strange about that. It means that they have to have their tango highs, whatever, on that day. And if they happen to have a fantastic time on Sunday, they couldn't extend it. They can't extend their, I don't know, if an opportunity arises, they can't really be open and receptive to it. And that's the same with weeknights as well. If I was teaching, the chances are, well, in fact, when I was teaching, I really couldn't get up to anything that interesting. A couple of times I did stay up really late, but most of the time I got into a routine because you have to. Because you have to get up so early and you've got to go and work so much. So, what's the privilege? Why am I privileged to, you know, 4:26 in the morning, recording some stuff to you guys? Because for the last 2 weeks, I've been trying to work with adults. And kind of using the systems that they kind of create around the government, for example. I spoke to somebody, I went to a conference called Progressive London, and I listened to people talk. And although some of the thoughts were really quite nice and interesting, it was kind of out of date. There was like a mismatch. All the things they were saying was right, but everybody in the audience was just kind of sitting there. And the actual participation of actually doing anything about anything, well, that was just not in existence. You had some people on the stage talking and everybody else listening. At the end of it, you had a few adults kind of sticking themselves with their hands and sort of saying something. To what point, I don't really know. There was a kind of response back from the people in the audience, from the stage at some point. Some kid got the microphone and was like talking about sex work and justice, blah, blah, blah. And there was a shouting match, big shouting match between people in the audience. This kid, it wasn't a kid, you know, we're talking about 20 something. And then everybody trying to get him to be quiet and all this kind of stuff. Not very sophisticated. Anyway, at the end of about 6 hours of listening to a whole bunch of people, what I decided to do was go and speak to this guy called John. I'm not sure what his surname is. I was recommended that I should speak to him by my flatmate. My flatmate said, just speak to that guy. And I thought, okay. But at the end of the day, I decided he's up on the stage. I thought, okay, I'll just go and speak to the guy. And I waited. I let other people talk to him, until eventually he was just sitting there. And he talked to me. And it was very nice. Thank you very much, John. Well, why do I want to talk to this guy? Well, later, I talked to my friend again. I said, why did you want me to talk to this guy? I said, well, in some circles, people actually think he might be the next Prime Minister. You think, what? Well, maybe not the next immediate one. A future Prime Minister. Won't be like the next one now. But maybe the one after that. That gets the brain going. Now, when I talk to guys, just talk to this guy who's sitting there. if he's potentially is the person that could be the Prime Minister, well, what would you say to him? Because I have a meeting up with him this week, alright? Now, maybe, okay, which we'll see. I think we're going to have a meeting, and I'm even trying to define the meeting that I have with him. Okay, I'm a nobody, okay, and I just walked up to the guy. Alright, we have a meeting. I'm going to try and ask him to bring along other people to verify certain things that we're going to talk about. Do with the state of the internet and how we self-organise, or how badly we do it. So I need some people on his side to kind of verify these things, so he doesn't have to kind of like, wonder what this is and then have to check later or something. He gets a good team going on his side, and I kind of bring my team, as it were, and then we hopefully come up with something interesting. What's the interesting thing? Well, it just so happens that there's meant to be expected, this is adult staff, 800,000 plus unemployed people in the UK, January, February this year. And I think, you're kids, you don't really know about this, but a lot of people are attached to work. A lot of these adults, they're attached to their work. They kind of feel, if they're not working, then they've lost their identity. They wouldn't know what to do with themselves. Well, of course, I think the guys I'm talking to, they're like, work? Am I really going to work for the rest of my life? I don't think so. I hope not. So instead of all these adults kind of worrying about losing their jobs, which seems to be most of the politicians are also seem to be worried about, what happens if we actually turn it to our advantage? What happens if it's seen to be an advantage to be unemployed? That means that you could kind of like make videos at 4:30 in the morning to pass students because you want to. Why would I want to do that? Well, here's the challenge, alright? Can you help me? I haven't thought about this. I thought I was just going to record to you guys, but imagine if you actually looked at this and you actually thought about it. You said, oh yeah, I know you're going to put some of your crappy jokes up, okay, and that's fine. But there might be a chance. Get Jake to watch it, okay? Could you? If you're not interested, fine. Get Jake to watch this, okay? I think Jake, there's something very interesting about Jake. Is Jake in? I keep calling him Jake, I can't remember. I always got confused with his name. I taught maths for a year. Or maybe, oh god, name, BMX. I can see your face, what's your name? You see? Terrible at it. I think you might come up with something correct, potentially, as well. Okay, what can I say to this guy? What would you like me to say to him? If I could just pass him something. A sentence. An idea, a request. Now, you might want to come up with something to do with the unemployment and potential employment. You might, or it might just be something completely different. Right, okay, you probably won't come up with anything. Okay, is there anything more specific? Okay, do you really want to work like your parents are working? Get a fairly simple answer for that. And if not, how on earth are you going to make your money? And if you've got kind of like dreams about being a pop star and all this kind of stuff, you think, well, okay. Maybe you just don't know. But the idea of working. I don't know. What do you think about working? What do you actually think working means? Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to tell me. What do you think working means? Right? Maybe ask your parents. Get some kind of answer. Try and get what you think parents and what adults think work is, and then say what you think it is. Okay? And then also say, well, what would you want to do when you grow up? Alright? When you're an adult. Yeah. Do you get what I'm saying? So if you could please, I'd be most kind. Because I'm going to be speaking to the potential future Prime Minister this week. So, perhaps you will too. Yeah. If you give me a good enough, honest answer. I mean, if you put a joke, that's fine, but I'm not going to pass on a joke to this guy, okay? I might think it's funny, but if you genuinely want to kind of like influence things, then give me something, yeah? And that means that at some point in the future they may have, because they do have youth, God knows what, going on. And I can say, oh, well, these guys are good. Well, in fact, it's good because you appreciated what this guy said way back then. And now he's like 17 or 18, or now he's finished school. I don't know, now he's going to university or whatever. Okay, fine.